Hello, dear listener, and welcome to Misty Whispers Stories, where mysteries unfold gently in the quiet of the night, where every tale is a soft companion for your journey into sleep. I'm so glad you're here with us tonight. Before we begin, let's prepare for this journey together. Find a comfortable position in your bed. Adjust your pillows just the way you like them. Let your body sink into the mattress beneath you, feeling supported, safe, and perfectly at ease. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and release it gently through your mouth. Feel any tension in your shoulders begin to melt away. One more breath. And out. Beautiful. Tonight we have a special story for you. A mystery that spans decades, a tale of unfinished business and quiet persistence. It's a story about a hotel room that kept a secret for 78 years, about two writers separated by time but connected by purpose, and about the night when everything finally, peacefully came to rest. This is a story to ease you into dreams, to occupy your wandering mind just enough to let your body drift away. There's nothing here to startle you, nothing to fear. Only mystery, only wonder, only the gentle unfolding of something impossible becoming beautifully real. So settle in, close your eyes if you haven't already, and let me carry you away to the Grandview Hotel, to room 614, and to a mystery that's been waiting a very long time to be solved. Are you ready? Then let's begin. The Grandview Hotel stands on the corner of Maple and 7th, where it has stood for 93 years. Its red brick facade has weathered countless seasons, watched thousands of guests come and go, and kept more secrets than any building has a right to keep. But there is one secret it has never told. It's about room 614. Take a deep breath with me now. Settle into your pillows. Let your eyes grow heavy as we begin this story together. A story that unfolded slowly, quietly, like mist creeping through an open window on an autumn night. The night clerk, Marcus Webb, had worked at the Grandview for 17 years. He knew every creak of the floorboards, every whisper of the heating system, every peculiar guest who passed through the brass-handled doors. Marcus was a man of routine. He arrived at 11 each evening, checked the ledger, made his rounds, and settled behind the mahogany desk with a thermos of chamomile tea and whatever paperback mystery he was reading that week. It was a Thursday in late October when he first noticed something unusual about room 614. The autumn rain tapped gently against the lobby windows, a soothing rhythm that made the lobby feel like a shelter from the world outside. Marcus had just finished his 11:30 rounds, walking the 6 floors of the hotel with his flashlight and master key, ensuring all was well in the sleeping building. Everything had been normal, quiet, peaceful. But when he returned to the desk, he noticed something in the ledger that made him pause. Room 614 had been occupied continuously for 3 weeks. The same guest, a Mr. Alexander Thorne. This wasn't unusual in itself. The Grandview occasionally hosted long-term guests, people in transition, traveling salesmen, or those who simply preferred the anonymity of a hotel to the commitment of an apartment. What struck Marcus as odd was that he couldn't recall ever seeing Mr. Thorne. Not once. Not in the lobby, not in the elevator, not in the hallway during his rounds. Marcus flipped back through the previous week's entries. Mr. Thorne had checked in on October 3rd. It was now October 24th. 21 days, and Marcus, who prided himself on knowing every guest by sight, had never laid eyes on the man. The reservation had been made by phone. Payment in advance, cash delivered by courier. No special requests. No complaints. No calls to the front desk. It was as if room 614 was occupied by a ghost. Marcus made a mental note to pay closer attention during his rounds tomorrow night. But tomorrow night, something even stranger would occur. Let your breathing slow now. Feel the weight of your body sinking deeper into your bed. The mystery is unfolding slowly, gently. like pages turning in a book you're reading by candlelight. Friday evening arrived with a cold wind that rattled the hotel's windows. Marcus came on duty at his usual time, exchanged pleasantries with the evening clerk, and took his place behind the desk. The lobby was warm, lit by amber lamps that cast long shadows across the marble floor. At midnight, Marcus began his rounds. He took the elevator to the 6th floor as he always did, starting at the top and working his way down. The 6th floor hallway stretched before him, carpeted in deep burgundy, walls lined with brass sconces that flickered with soft yellow light. The air up here always felt different, thinner somehow, quieter. Room 614 was at the far end of the hall, just before the emergency exit. As Marcus approached, he noticed something that made his footsteps slow. There was no light beneath the door. This wasn't remarkable on its own. Guests often slept with their lights off. But something about the darkness seemed deeper somehow, more absolute. Marcus stood outside the door for a long moment, listening. Silence. Not the silence of sleep, but the silence of absence. He knocked softly, 3 gentle raps. "Hotel security, Mr. Thorne. Just doing my evening rounds." Nothing. Marcus waited a full minute, then continued down the hallway. Perhaps Mr. Thorne was a deep sleeper. Perhaps he was out, though Marcus had been at the desk all evening and hadn't seen anyone matching the description leave. Then again, he'd never seen Mr. Thorne at all. The oddness of it followed Marcus back to the lobby like a shadow. Saturday brought with it a small mystery that would deepen the larger one. At 10 in the morning, housekeeping supervisor Rita Martinez came to the front desk with a concerned expression. She'd been with the Grandview for 25 years, and very little fazed her, which made her concern all the more notable. "Room 614, she said to the day clerk, Gerald. "The guest won't let us in to clean." Gerald checked the computer. "Mr. Thorne? Has he called down with any complaints?" "No calls. But when my girls knock, there's no answer. And there's a 'Do Not Disturb' sign that's been on the door for 3 days now." This wasn't entirely unusual. Some guests valued their privacy. But 3 days without housekeeping was approaching the hotel's limit. Gerald made a note to have the manager check on it Monday if the situation persisted. But Monday would be too late. Because by Monday, room 614 would be empty. Completely, impossibly empty. Marcus arrived for his shift Saturday night with a heightened awareness of room 614. He'd been thinking about it all day, that dark space at the end of the 6th floor hallway, occupied by a man no one had ever seen. The evening passed slowly. A few guests checked in, travelers caught by the rain, a couple celebrating their anniversary. Marcus helped them with their bags, recommended a nearby restaurant, and sent them up to their rooms with genuine warmth. This was what he loved about the job. The small kindnesses, the quiet competence of providing comfort to strangers. But his mind kept returning to room 614. At midnight, he made his rounds again. The 6th floor hallway was exactly as it had been the night before. Quiet, dim, peaceful. Marcus walked slowly toward room 614, his soft-soled shoes making barely a sound on the carpet. As he approached, he noticed something new. A room service tray sat outside the door. Marcus's heartbeat quickened slightly. He approached the tray and looked down. A dinner plate with food half-eaten. A glass of water mostly full. A cloth napkin folded beside the plate. The food looked fresh, couldn't have been out more than a few hours. So Mr. Thorne had ordered room service. Which meant someone on staff had seen him, spoken to him, delivered his meal. Marcus made a mental note to check with the kitchen staff in the morning. He knocked on the door again, softer this time, mindful of the late hour. "Mr. Thorne? Hotel security. I'm going to take your tray if that's all right." Silence. Marcus bent down, lifted the tray, and as he did, he noticed something that made his breath catch. The food was cold. Not dinner an hour ago cold, but dinner yesterday cold. The water in the glass had a film across the top. The napkin had turned slightly damp from sitting in the hallway's humidity. This tray had been here for at least a day, which meant housekeeping had been leaving it, walking past it during their rounds. Which meant Marcus's thoughts were interrupted by a sound from inside the room. A soft thump like something falling, or someone moving. "Mr. Thorne?" Marcus called louder now. "Sir, are you all right?" Another sound, softer this time. Almost like a whisper, though Marcus couldn't make out any words. He pulled out his walkie-talkie and called down to the desk. "This is Marcus on 6. I'm outside room 614. I'm hearing sounds inside, but the guest isn't responding. I'm going to perform a wellness check." The crackling response came back. "Copy that, Marcus. Use your discretion." Marcus pulled out his master key, his hand steady despite the unease creeping through his chest. He inserted the key into the lock, turned it slowly and pushed open the door. The room was dark. Completely dark. Curtains were drawn tight against the windows, blocking even the faint glow of the city lights outside. Marcus's flashlight beam cut through the darkness, illuminating dust motes that hung suspended in the air like tiny stars. "Mr. Thorne? Hotel security. I'm coming in." His flashlight swept across the room. The bed was made. Perfectly made, as if housekeeping had just finished. But housekeeping hadn't been allowed in for days. The bathroom door was closed. Marcus crossed the room slowly, his footsteps muffled by the carpet. He could hear his own breathing, steady but quick. When he reached the bathroom, he knocked once, then pushed open the door. Empty. The bathroom was spotless. Towels folded, toiletries arranged neatly, but something about it looked staged, untouched, like a display in a furniture showroom. Marcus turned back to the main room and began to notice other details. The closet door was ajar. He opened it fully. No clothes, no luggage, no personal belongings of any kind. The dresser drawers were empty. The nightstand held nothing but the hotel Bible and a notepad. Room 614 was completely vacant. But according to the ledger, Mr. Alexander Thorne was still checked in. His reservation ran through the end of the month. Payment confirmed. Room occupied. Marcus stood in the center of the empty room, his flashlight beam making slow circles on the walls, and felt the first real chill of fear run down his spine. Because this wasn't just strange. This was impossible. You couldn't check into a hotel room, stay for 3 weeks, order room service, hang a do not disturb sign, and never actually be there. You couldn't exist in the records but not in reality. Could you? Marcus locked room 614 and made his way back to the lobby, the empty room playing on his mind like a song he couldn't quite remember. The elevator descended with its familiar hum, and he found himself grateful for the mundane sound, something normal in a night that had become decidedly strange. Back at the desk, he pulled up the hotel's detailed records on the computer, his fingers moving slowly across the keys. The blue glow of the screen illuminated his face as he searched for any information about Alexander Thorne. The reservation details were sparse. Phone booking made on October 2nd. The caller had given a credit card number that cleared immediately. The card was registered to A. Thorne, address listed as a P.O. box in Portland, Oregon. No email address. No previous stays at the Grandview. No loyalty program membership. Marcus clicked through to the room service records. There it was, 3 orders placed to room 614. October 7th, October 14th, October 21st. Always the same thing. Grilled salmon, roasted vegetables, sparkling water. Always ordered at exactly 6 in the evening. Always paid for with the card on file. But here was the curious part. The delivery note simply said, "Left outside door per guest request." Every single time. No one had actually seen Mr. Thorne receive his meals. No one had actually seen Mr. Thorne receive his meals. Marcus sat back in his chair, fingers drumming softly on the desk. The lobby grandfather clock ticked away the minutes, its sound a comforting rhythm in the stillness. Outside, the October wind pressed against the windows, and somewhere in the building, a pipe creaked as the heating system adjusted to the cooling night. He picked up the phone and dialed the night manager's number. It rang 4 times before a groggy voice answered. "Judith, it's Marcus. Sorry to wake you, but we have a situation with room 614. Judith Chin arrived at the hotel within 30 minutes, her silver hair still damp from a quick shower, her expression alert despite the late hour. She'd been the night manager at the Grandview for 12 years, and she'd handled everything from medical emergencies to celebrity guests demanding absolute privacy. But as Marcus explained the situation, her usual calm demeanor showed cracks of concern. "You're certain the room was empty?" she asked, reviewing the ledger entries. "Completely. Not a single personal item. It looked like it had never been occupied." Judith tapped her pen against the desk, thinking. But the room service orders went through. The payment cleared. The "Do Not Disturb" sign was physical, something someone had to hang on the door. "I know. None of it makes sense. Let's check the security footage," Judith said, moving toward the small office behind the front desk. The Grandview's security system was aging but functional. Cameras covered the lobby, the elevator, and each floor's main hallway. Judith pulled up the footage from the 6th floor, starting from October 3rd, the check-in date. They watched at double speed, the timestamp racing forward, showing the quiet hallway at various times of day and night. Housekeeping carts passed by. Other guests came and went from neighboring rooms. But room 614's door remained closed, the hallway in front of it empty and still. "Wait," Marcus said, leaning closer to the screen. "Go back to October 7th. That was the first room service delivery." Judith rewound the footage. At 6:47 p.m. on October 7th, they watched a young man in a white server's jacket approach room 614 carrying a covered tray. He knocked, waited, then bent down and placed the tray outside the door. He straightened, made a note on his pad, and walked away. "Keep watching," Marcus murmured. The timestamp continued forward. 7 p.m. 7:30 p.m. 8 p.m. The tray remained outside the door, untouched. Then, at 8:43 p.m. something happened. The tray was suddenly gone. Not gradually. Not in a smooth motion of someone opening the door and taking it. The footage showed one frame with the tray there, and the next frame with it gone, as if someone had simply edited it out of existence. Judith replayed it 3 times. Same result. The tray vanished between 1 second and the next. "That's impossible," she whispered. "Could be a glitch in the recording," Marcus offered, though his voice lacked conviction. "Let's check the other deliveries." They did. October 14th, same pattern. Tray delivered, tray vanishes between frames. October 21st, identical. Judith sat back, her face pale in the monitor's glow. "Marcus, has anyone else reported anything unusual on the 6th floor? Strange sounds, temperature changes, anything?" "Not that I'm aware of. Should we check the other room records?" They spent the next 20 minutes reviewing guest records for the 6th floor. Rooms 610, 612, 616, and 618 had all been occupied at various points during the past 3 weeks. Judith made a list of the guests and their contact information. "We'll need to reach out to them," she said, discreetly. "See if anyone noticed anything odd." Marcus nodded, but his attention had drifted back to the screen, to that frozen image of the empty hallway in front of room 614. Something about it bothered him, something beyond the obvious strangeness. Then he realized what it was. "Judith, look at the carpet." She leaned in. "What about it?" "In front of room 614. It's darker than the rest of the hallway. Like it's wet or stained." Judith enhanced the image as much as the old system would allow. Marcus was right. There was a discoloration in the carpet directly in front of the door, roughly 3 feet wide, stretching from the door to the opposite wall. "Could be a spill," Judith said uncertainly. "For 3 weeks." They sat in silence for a moment, the only sound the hum of the computer and the distant rattle of the wind outside. "I think we need to go back up there," Judith finally said. "Both of us. I want to see this room for myself." The sixth floor felt different at 2 in the morning. The hallway seemed longer, the shadows deeper, the silence more profound. Marcus and Judith walked side by side, their footsteps muffled by the burgundy carpet, toward room 614 at the far end. As they approached, Judith stopped suddenly, her hand on Marcus's arm. "Do you smell that?" Marcus inhaled slowly. There was a scent in the air, faint but distinct. Salt water. And something else. Old paper. Leather. Like a library near the ocean. "That wasn't here earlier," Marcus said quietly. They continued forward. The dark stain in the carpet was indeed there, exactly as it had appeared in the security footage. Judith knelt down and touched it gently. Her fingers came away dry. "It's not wet," she said, puzzled. "But it looks wet. Like a shadow that fell into the floor." Marcus used his master key to open the door again. The room beyond was exactly as he'd left it. Empty, pristine, untouched. But now that Judith had mentioned the smell, he noticed it was stronger inside the room. That odd combination of ocean and old books. Judith walked through the room methodically, opening drawers, checking the closet, examining the bathroom. Everything was in perfect order, yet something felt profoundly wrong about the space. It was too perfect, too empty, as if it existed slightly outside of normal reality. "Marcus, look at this." Judith was standing by the window, the heavy curtains pulled back for the first time. Marcus joined her and looked out at the view of the city below. The streetlights created pools of amber light on the wet streets. A few cars moved slowly through the late-night traffic. Everything looked normal, except for the window itself. It was covered in condensation on the inside, as if someone had been breathing on it for hours. But the room's temperature was normal, and there was no reason for that much moisture to accumulate. Judith reached out and traced her finger through the condensation. Her finger left a clear line in the moisture, revealing the glass beneath. And as they watched, something impossible happened. The condensation began to reform in the path her finger had cleared. Not slowly, not gradually, but immediately, filling in the line as if her finger had never touched it at all. Judith pulled her hand back quickly, her breath catching. "Did you see that?" Marcus nodded, unable to speak for a moment. His mind was racing, trying to find a logical explanation and failing completely. "Judith, I think we need to contact the previous owners of the hotel. Find out if anything ever happened in this room." "At 2 in the morning? I don't think this can wait until business hours." Judith looked at him, then back at the window with its impossible condensation, and nodded slowly. "You're right. Let's go back downstairs. I have the contact information for Harold Brennan. He owned the Grandview before it was sold to the current corporation. He's old now, must be in his 80s, but he might remember something." They left the room, locking it behind them, and walked back to the elevator in silence. Neither of them mentioned the feeling they both had, the sensation of being watched by something that had no eyes, the certainty that room 614 was not, in fact, empty at all. It was occupied. Just not by anyone visible. Harold Brennan's voice was surprisingly strong for a man of 84, though it carried the rough edges of someone pulled from sleep. But when Judith explained why she was CA Ling, his tone shifted from annoyed to carefully neutral. "Room 614, he repeated slowly. "You're having trouble with room 614. "Yes, Mr. Brennan. We have a guest who seems to be, well, the situation is unusual. I was hoping you might have some records from your time as owner. Anything that might explain." "What's happening?" Harold interrupted. "Tell me exactly what's happening." Judith and Marcus exchanged glances across the desk. Judith took a breath and explained everything. The guest no one had seen, the empty room, the vanishing room service trays, the impossible condensation on the window. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. "Mr. Brennan?" "I'm here," he said quietly. I'm I'm not surprised is all. I hoped maybe it had stopped after I sold the place. But I suppose some things don't stop just because ownership changes. What do you mean? Marcus asked, leaning closer to the phone. Room 614 has always been strange. Since before I bought the hotel in 1978 even. The previous owner mentioned it to me during the sale, said some guests reported odd experiences. Nothing dangerous, mind you. Just odd. Sounds with no source. A feeling of being watched. Objects moved slightly while they were out of the room. Did you ever try to investigate it? Judith asked. Oh, I investigated plenty. Had the room blessed by 3 different clergy members. Had a paranormal group come in back in 1983 when that sort of thing was popular. Even had the entire room renovated in 1991, stripped down to the studs and rebuilt from scratch. Nothing made a difference. Harold paused and they could hear him moving around, the sound of a drawer opening. I kept a file, he continued. All the reports from guests who experienced something unusual in that room. Hang on, let me find it. They waited, listening to the sound of papers shuffling hundreds of miles away. Here it is. Let me tell you about some of the reports. October 1982, guest reported hearing someone typing on a typewriter at 3 in the morning. No typewriter in the room. April 1987, guest claimed to wake up and find all their belongings neatly arranged in alphabetical order. They'd left them scattered the night before. June 1995, guests said they could hear someone on the other side of the wall having a one-sided conversation as if on a phone call. But room 616 was empty that week. Was there ever anyone who claimed to see something? Marcus asked. Just once. September 1989. A woman named Eleanor Voss stayed in 614 for 2 nights. She checked out early on the 3rd morning, paid her full bill without complaint, but left a note at the desk. I still have it here. They heard paper rustling again. It says, to the management. I do not wish to alarm you, but you should know that room 614 is occupied by someone who is not listed in your registry. I did not see them clearly, only glimpses from the corner of my eye. A man, I think, sitting at the desk, writing. When I turned to look directly, there was nothing there. But I could hear the pen on paper. He means no harm. He is simply trying to finish something. I thought you should know. Sincerely, Eleanor Voss. The lobby seemed very quiet suddenly. Even the grandfather clock's ticking seemed muted. Did you ever follow up with her? Judith asked. I tried. The phone number she left was disconnected. The address was for an apartment building, but when I wrote, the letter came back marked, addressee unknown. It was like she disappeared after leaving the hotel. Or maybe she'd never existed in the first place, Marcus murmured. What was that? Harold asked. Nothing. Mr. Brennan, do you know anything about the history of the building itself? Was there ever anyone who lived or worked here who might have had a connection to that room specifically? Harold was quiet for a moment. There was something. I heard it from the owner before me. Back in the 1940s, during World War II, the hotel rented rooms by the month to servicemen on leave and their families. There was a man, a writer, who lived in what would have been room 614. His name was, let me think, Thomas Waverley. He was working on a novel. Supposedly was very close to finishing it, but he died before he could complete it. How did he die? Heart attack, I believe. Found in the room one morning by housekeeping. He was only 42 years old. They said he'd been writing the night before. The manuscript was on the desk, nearly complete. Just needed an ending. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. What happened to the manuscript? No one knows. His belongings were collected by a sister who lived back east, but she claimed there was no manuscript among his effects. Said the hotel must have lost it. There was a bit of a dispute, but nothing ever came of it. The manuscript was never found. Judith wrote down the name, Thomas Waverley. Mr. Brennan, thank you for this information. This is incredibly helpful. Listen, Harold said, his voice taking on a more serious tone. I never closed that room. Not once in all my years running the Grandview. I kept it available, kept it in the rotation. Whatever is in room 614, it's not malevolent. It never hurt anyone. Guests who stayed there without experiencing anything usually left 5-star reviews. Said it was the best sleep they'd had in years. The room wanted to be used, I think. It wanted to be part of the hotel's life. Closing it would have been cruel somehow. Do you understand? I think so, Judith said softly. Good. Now I'm going back to bed. But if you need anything else, you call me. And listen, be respectful in that room. Whatever is there has been there a long time. It's earned some consideration. They thanked him and hung up. Marcus and Judith sat in silence for a long moment, processing everything they'd learned. Thomas Waverley, Marcus finally said. A writer who died before finishing his book. And now we have a guest named Alexander Thorne who no one has ever seen staying in that same room doing what? What is happening in there? Marcus stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the empty street. I think, he said slowly, that we need to find out more about Thomas Waverley and about his unfinished novel. At 3 in the morning? The internet never sleeps, Marcus said with a slight smile. They spent the next hour searching. Thomas Waverley had indeed been a writer, though not a particularly well-known one. He'd published 2 novels in the 1930s, both to modest reviews. According to a digitized obituary from 1947, he'd been working on what he called his masterwork, a novel titled The Shores of Forgetting. His sister, Margaret Waverley, was quoted as saying she'd never found the manuscript and assumed it had been lost or stolen in the chaos after his death. The Shores of Forgetting, Judith read aloud. That's an interesting title. And that smell in the room, Marcus added. Salt water and old paper. Like an ocean and a library. You think the room is somehow connected to the book? To this unfinished story? Marcus pulled up another search result, this one from a literary journal from 1946, an interview with Thomas Waverley conducted just months before his death. He read aloud, The Shores of Forgetting is about a man who dies but doesn't realize it at first. He continues his daily routine, living in the same place, doing the same things, unaware that he's become untethered from normal time. Only gradually does he understand that he's caught between worlds, and that the only way to move forward is to finish the one thing he left undone in life. They looked at each other. He was writing about himself, Judith whispered. He was writing his own story. Or predicting it, Marcus said. And now he's trapped, still trying to finish that novel. Still living in room 614. But what about Alexander Thorne? Judith asked. How does he fit into this? Marcus shook his head slowly. I don't know, but I think we need to go back to that room. And this time we need to look more carefully. Because if Thomas Waverley is trying to tell us something, we need to figure out what it is. Dawn was still 2 hours away when Marcus and Judith returned to the 6th floor. The hallway greeted them with its familiar quiet, but now they understood that the silence was not emptiness. It was presence. Something was here, had always been here, waiting patiently through the decades. Room 614's door stood before them like a threshold between worlds. Ready? Judith asked quietly. Marcus nodded and used the master key. This time, when they entered, they didn't turn on the overhead lights. Instead, they used their flashlights, moving slowly through the space, looking for details they might have missed before. The beam of light caught the edges of furniture, created long shadows on the walls, illuminated dust motes that hung suspended in the air. The smell was stronger now. Salt and paper. Ocean and library. The scent of unfinished stories and endless horizons. Marcus moved to the desk. It was a simple writing desk, dark wood, with 3 drawers and a leather-trimmed surface. He opened the top drawer slowly. Empty. The second drawer, empty. But when he opened the third drawer, he found something that made his breath catch. A single sheet of paper, cream-colored, heavy stock, the kind serious writers used for manuscripts. And on it, written in elegant fountain pen ink, were 3 words: "Nearly finished now." Judith came to stand beside him, looking down at the paper. "This wasn't here when we checked the room before." "No," Marcus agreed. "It wasn't." He carefully lifted the paper, holding it by the edges. The ink was fresh, barely dry. In the flashlight's beam, he could see the slight indentations where the pen had pressed into the paper, the careful loops and flourishes of handwritten text. "He's writing," Judith whispered. "Right now. Thomas Waverley is still writing his book." Marcus set the paper down gently and opened the hotel notepad that sat on the desk. Using the hotel pen, he wrote, "Mr. Waverley? Can you hear us?" They waited. The room remained still. The only sound was their breathing and the faint whisper of the heating system. Marcus was about to try again when he noticed something changing on the cream-colored paper. New words were appearing, forming in that same elegant script, as if an invisible hand was writing them. "I can hear you. I've been here a long time. I am so close to the ending now." Judith gripped Marcus's arm. They watched as the words appeared, letter by letter, each one forming with careful precision. Marcus wrote back, "How can we help you?" The response came more quickly this time. "There is another here. He has come to help me finish. His name is Alexander. He brings me the words I cannot find on my own. He sits with me each night and together we write. But there is something wrong. The words are slipping away. I cannot hold them. The story keeps unraveling." "Alexander Thorne," Marcus murmured. He wrote, "Who is Alexander Thorne?" The writing hesitated. For a long moment, nothing appeared. Then, "He is also a writer. He came from your time. He said he had read about me, about my unfinished work. He wanted to help me complete it. But I think he is also trapped now. Like me. We are both caught in the story, unable to reach the ending." Judith pulled out her phone and quickly searched for Alexander Thorne writer. Her eyes widened as she found a result. "Marcus," she whispered urgently, showing him the screen. It was a news article from October 5th, just 2 days after the reservation for room 614 had been made. The headline read, "Local author Alexander Thorne missing, family seeks information." Marcus read quickly. Alexander Thorne, 38, a moderately successful novelist from Portland, Oregon, had been reported missing by his wife on October 4th. He told her he was going to research a historical figure for his new book. He'd mentioned something about a hotel, an old mystery, a writer who died before finishing his masterwork. He'd mentioned the Grandview Hotel. "Oh no," Judith breathed. "He came here to find Thomas Waverley. And somehow, he became part of the story," Marcus finished. "He got trapped with him." Marcus wrote quickly, "Mr. Waverley, is Alexander Thorne here with you now? Can you both hear us?" The response came in different handwriting, shakier, more modern. "This is Alexander. I'm here. I came to help Thomas finish The Shores of Forgetting. I thought if I could help him complete it, he could move on. But I was wrong. The story itself is the trap. It doesn't want to end. Every time we get close to the final chapter, the words disappear. We start again. And again. I've been here for weeks, but it feels like years. I can't leave. I tried. The door won't open for me. I call out, but no one hears. Please, you have to help us." Marcus and Judith stared at the words, the desperate plea written in that shaking hand. "How do we help them?" Judith asked. "How do we free them from an unfinished story?" Marcus thought hard, his mind racing through everything they'd learned. A writer trapped by his incomplete work. Another writer who'd come to help and gotten caught in the same trap. A story that refused to end, that kept unraveling before it could reach its conclusion. Then he remembered something from the interview with Thomas Waverley. He pulled up the article on Judith's phone and read it again, more carefully this time. "Listen to this," he said. The protagonist of my novel doesn't realize he's dead at first. He continues his routine, unaware he's untethered from normal time. Only gradually does he understand. And the only way he can move forward is to finish the one thing he left undone in life. The one thing left undone, Judith repeated. The novel itself. Exactly. Thomas Waverley can't move on because he never finished the book. And the book is about someone who can't move on until they finish something. It's a loop, a story about itself, a snake eating its own tail. So how do we break the loop? Marcus picked up the pen again. By finishing the story for them. He wrote on the notepad, Thomas Alexander. Tell me how the story ends. What happens to the protagonist? What is the ending you've been trying to reach? The response came slowly in both handwritings as if both men were guiding the pen together. He stands on the shore of forgetting, where the sea meets the sand, and he understands finally what he has been searching for. Not redemption. Not answers. Simply peace. The acceptance that some stories end not with grand revelations but with quiet understanding. He walks into the water, and as the waves close over him, he feels the weight of the world release. He is complete. He is finished. He is free. Marcus read the words aloud, his voice gentle in the quiet room. As he spoke, he felt something change in the air around them. The smell of salt water grew stronger, and for just a moment, he could swear he heard the sound of waves in the distance. That's beautiful, Judith whispered. Marcus wrote, Is that the ending? Is that how the shores of forgetting concludes? The response was in Thomas Waverley's elegant script. Yes. After 78 years, I have finally written the last words. Alexander helped me find them. The story is complete. And then in Alexander Thorne's shakier hand. Thank you. I can see the door now. The real door. Not the one to the hallway. The one beyond. Marcus and Judith watched as more words appeared, faster now, both handwritings mixing together, overlapping. We are finished. We can rest now. Thank you for listening. Thank you for helping us find the ending. The room will be quiet now. The story is told. The cream-colored paper began to glow softly as if lit from within. The words on it shimmered, became brilliant, almost too bright to look at directly. Then slowly the light faded and the paper turned to ash, crumbling soundlessly to dust on the desk. The temperature in the room shifted, became warmer. The smell of salt and old paper faded, replaced by the simple clean scent of a hotel room. Fresh linens. Lemon polish. Normal. The weight in the air, the presence that had lingered for so many decades, was gone. Room 614 was finally, truly empty. Marcus and Judith stood in the quiet room for a long time, neither speaking, both processing what had just happened. Finally, Judith reached over and turned on the overhead light. The room looked completely normal. The desk where the supernatural conversation had taken place was just a desk. The window with its impossible condensation was clear. The dark stain in the hallway carpet, when they checked, had vanished completely. Did that really happen? Judith asked quietly. Marcus looked down at his notepad where his handwritten questions remained. But the cream-colored paper was gone, and with it, all evidence of Thomas Waverley and Alexander Thorne's written responses. I think it did, he said. I think we just witnessed something impossible become possible. Two men trapped by an unfinished story finally finding their ending. They left the room and made their way back to the lobby. The sky outside was beginning to lighten with the first hint of dawn, that soft gray blue that comes before sunrise. Marcus made a fresh pot of coffee, and they sat together in the quiet lobby, drinking from warm mugs and trying to make sense of the night. We should contact Alexander Thorne's family, Judith said. Tell them something. Tell them what? That we found him in a haunted hotel room, helped him finish a ghost's novel, and watched him pass through a door into whatever comes after. When you put it that way, Marcus smiled slightly. I'll make a call to Portland police tomorrow. I'll tell them Alexander Thorne was registered at our hotel under his own name, that the room is now empty, and that his credit card was last used here. They can take it from there. Do you think they'll find his body? I don't know, Marcus admitted. Maybe. Maybe he died in that room somehow and we just couldn't see him. Or maybe he really did step through some door into another place entirely. I'm not sure it matters. He was trapped and now he's not. That's what counts. Judith nodded slowly. And Thomas Waverley? After 78 years, he finished his book. He did. The Shores of Forgetting finally has an ending. I wish we could have read it, Judith said wistfully. The whole thing, I mean. It sounded beautiful. Maybe that wasn't for us, Marcus replied. Maybe that story was just for them. Their journey, their completion. We were just witnesses, maybe guides. They finished their coffee as the sun rose over the city, painting the lobby in warm golden light. The night shift was nearly over. Soon the day staff would arrive, and life at the Grandview Hotel would continue its normal rhythm. Except room 614 would never be quite the same. Over the following weeks, Marcus and Judith kept a close watch on room 614. They didn't close it or take it out of rotation, following Harold Brennan's advice. Instead, they let guests book it normally, curious to see if the room retained any of its unusual qualities. What they discovered surprised them. Guests who stayed in room 614 reported the best sleep they'd had in years. Writers, particularly, seemed drawn to the room. They would wake up refreshed, energized, often with solutions to creative problems they'd been struggling with. One novelist even left a note at checkout. I don't know what it is about room 614, but I wrote more in 3 days there than I have in 3 months at home. The room feels peaceful, encouraging somehow, like someone who believes in your work is quietly cheering you on. 5 stars. Marcus saved that note and showed it to Judith. He's still there, she said softly. Not trapped but present, like a blessing. Or maybe it's just a room now, Marcus suggested. A room that once held something extraordinary, and that extraordinary thing left an echo. A good echo. They never told the other staff what had happened that October night. Some stories are too strange to share, too fragile to explain. They kept it between themselves and Harold Brennan, who smiled when Judith called to tell him room 614 was finally at peace. Good, the old man said. I always hoped that would happen someday. That someone would help him finish his story. Did you know? Judith asked. Did you know what needed to be done? I suspected, Harold admitted, but I was never the right person to do it. That had to be someone else at the right time. I'm glad it was you too. As autumn deepened into winter, the Grandview Hotel settled into its rhythms. Guests came and went. Holidays approached. The world turned as it always does, carrying everyone forward through time. But sometimes late at night, when Marcus made his rounds and passed room 614, he would pause for just a moment. And sometimes, very faintly, he could smell salt water and old paper. A reminder of 2 men who had been lost and found their way home. A reminder that every story, no matter how long delayed, eventually finds its ending. It was a cold morning in early December when the letter arrived. Marcus found it in the hotel's mailbox, mixed in with bills and promotional materials. It was addressed to the night staff, Grandview Hotel, room 614. No return address. Postmarked from Portland, Oregon. He opened it carefully and found a single sheet of paper inside, typed neatly, with a handwritten note at the bottom. He read it standing in the lobby as the first snow of the season began to fall outside. Dear friends, my name is Sarah Thorne. I am Alexander Thorne's wife. This past October, my husband disappeared. The police investigated and found that his credit card was last used at your hotel. They searched room 614 but found no trace of him. The police have closed the case, listed Alexander as a missing person, presumed dead. I have been sorting through his belongings trying to understand where he went and why. In his office, I found his research notes about a writer named Thomas Waverley who died in your hotel in 1947. Alexander was fascinated by Waverley's story. He believed that Waverley's unfinished novel, The Shores of Forgetting, might still exist somehow, that some trace of it remained at the Grandview. He was convinced that Waverley's death before completing the book was a tragedy that needed addressing. 2 days ago, something extraordinary happened. I received a package with no return address. Inside was a manuscript. A complete manuscript of a novel titled, The Shores of Forgetting by Thomas Waverley. The final page has a note in my husband's handwriting. It says, "Sarah, I found him. I helped him finish it. The story is complete. I'm at peace. Remember me but don't mourn. Some journeys end in unexpected places, but all endings are also beginnings. I love you. Always." Alex, I don't understand how this happened. I don't know where the manuscript came from or how it was completed. But I wanted you to know that Alexander's last act was one of generosity. He helped a fellow writer finish his masterwork. I'm going to seek publication of The Shores of Forgetting. Thomas Waverley's name will finally be attached to his completed work. And Alexander will be listed as the editor who brought it to light. Thank you for whatever role you played in this impossible, beautiful mystery. With gratitude, Sarah Thorne. Marcus read the letter 3 times, then showed it to Judith when she came on shift that evening. They sat together in the quiet lobby, the snow falling outside, and neither of them spoke for a long time. "They did it," Judith finally whispered. "They really finished it. And somehow she has the manuscript." "Some stories," Marcus said softly, "are stronger than death, stronger than time. They insist on being told no matter how long it takes or what boundaries they have to cross." Will she really get it published? I hope so. I think that would be the true ending. Not just writing the last words but sharing the story with the world. That's what writers do, isn't it? They tell stories so others can hear them. Judith nodded. "We should keep this letter. In case anyone ever asks about room 614 again." "We will," Marcus agreed. "We'll keep it safe." They filed the letter carefully, and as the evening deepened into night, Marcus began his rounds as he always did. The hotel was warm and welcoming, a shelter against the winter cold. Guests were settling into their rooms, preparing for sleep. Everything was as it should be. When he reached the 6th floor, Marcus paused outside room 614. The door was closed, the room currently vacant. He stood there for a moment, remembering everything that had happened. "Thank you," he said quietly to the empty hallway, to whatever might still be listening. "For trusting us. For letting us help." The hallway remained silent, but Marcus felt a warmth in his chest, a sense of completion and rightness. The story of room 614 was finished now in all the ways that mattered. He continued his rounds, his footsteps soft on the burgundy carpet, a guardian of the sleeping hotel and its secrets. 2 years later, the book launch was held in a small independent bookstore in Portland on a rainy Thursday evening. Sarah Thorne stood at the podium, holding a copy of The Shores of Forgetting by Thomas Waverley, edited and completed by Alexander Thorne. Marcus and Judith had flown in for the event, sitting in the back row, anonymous among the crowd of book lovers and curious readers. Sarah told the story of how the book came to be published, though she left out the impossible parts, the supernatural elements that no one would believe. She spoke of a manuscript found, of her husband's last gift to her, of a writer whose work had waited 78 years to see the light of day. She read the final passage of the book, the ending that Thomas and Alexander had written together in room 614. He stands on the shore of forgetting, where the sea meets the sand, and he understands finally what he has been searching for. Not redemption. Not answers. Simply peace. The acceptance that some stories end not with grand revelations but with quiet understanding. He walks into the water, and as the waves close over him, he feels the weight of the world release. He is complete. He is finished. He is free. The audience was silent for a moment after she finished, then burst into warm applause. Marcus and Judith bought copies of the book, had Sarah sign them, though they didn't tell her who they were. Some mysteries are better left mysterious. Some stories are better when they remain untold. They flew home the next day, the books safely packed in their luggage. Back at the Grandview Hotel, Marcus placed his copy in the drawer of the desk in room 614. "So the room has its book now," Judith said, smiling. "The story it waited so long to tell finally exists in physical form. And guests can read it if they find it," Marcus added. "They'll think it's just a hotel amenity, a book left behind by a previous guest. They won't know the truth." "But we'll know," Judith said. "We'll always know." They stood in the doorway of room 614, looking at the desk with its drawer containing the completed novel, the masterwork that had taken nearly 8 decades to finish. "Do you ever wonder," Judith asked, "if there are other rooms like this? Other places where stories are waiting to be completed, where people are trapped by unfinished business?" "I'm sure there are," Marcus said. "The world is full of incomplete things, stories that want endings, people searching for closure. We just happen to be in the right place at the right time to help with this one." "It was an honor," Judith said softly. "It was," Marcus agreed. They turned off the light and closed the door, leaving room 614 to its peace. The hotel was quiet around them, full of sleeping guests and dreams in progress. Somewhere, in a place beyond time and death, 2 writers were finally at rest, their work complete, their story told. And in room 614 of the Grandview Hotel, on a desk in a quiet room, a book waited to be read, its pages holding a mystery and a miracle, a testament to the power of completion and the importance of every story having its ending. Let this story carry you gently into sleep now. Feel the peace of completion, the satisfaction of mysteries solved, of stories finished. Your breathing is slow and deep. Your body is perfectly relaxed. You are safe, comfortable, drifting in that space between waking and dreaming. Room 614 is quiet now. The stories are told. And you, dear listener, can rest in the knowledge that all things eventually find their proper ending. Sleep well. Sleep peacefully. Sleep.